I'd like to make a brief overview of the process to the City Council on this project. Late last year in December, your city staff proceeded to issue a request for proposals to secure the service of a professional team that would do a survey of all of the buildings at Mare Island for code compliance, health and safety items and standards. Pursuant to your direction, we made sure that this request for proposal had a comprehensive outreach program. And what we proceeded to do on that, Mr. Mayor, was to send direct solicitation to 128 firms. 9 Vallejo engineering firms were also contacted. 68 firms listed in the Minority Business Directory of Northern California. 5 local Chamber of Commerce, including minority. Advertisements in the Small Business Exchange. This is a publication that targets minority, women, and disabled veteran-owned firms, and the Vallejo Times-Herald for 3 days. We received a number of proposals. Prior to that, we ensured that there was a tour of Mare Island. There was a pre-conference, well-attended, in which we outlined the objectives of the City of Vallejo. We are recommending to you, Mr. Mayor, that you authorize the city manager to retain the services of IDAW. And the basis of the recommendation is the following. The professional credentials and track was outstanding. IDAW and its team, if I may call the attention of the City Council, was the same team of professionals that did the final reuse plan, which was, my impression, was well received by the City Council and certainly by Vallejoans. And we also added, responding to your direction, inclusion of Vallejo businesses. The proposal or the team represented or headed by IDAW, Russel Ocampo, Esta, and Elliott Real Estate Firm, among others. One final observation that I think is noteworthy to the City Council. This is a phased contract. Currently, we have permission or budget authority, if you will, from the Office of Economic Adjustment for $50,000. Nevertheless, we have contacted already OEA, the Office of Economic Adjustment, to provide us more money. We believe that the Office of Economic Adjustment will make funds available very quickly to us. Ultimately, it is the goal of your staff to survey all of those buildings at Mare Island. That includes well over 400 buildings at our estimate. We are also fairly confident that OEA will provide the funds sufficient for this year to have over 1 million square feet of space surveyed by us. So based on the above, Mr. Mayor, members of the Vallejo City Council, the recommendation from your staff is to retain the service of IDAW. I'll be happy to answer the questions that you may have on this matter.
The next speaker is Alan Brosher of Whittier, Brosher and Associates.
Good evening. My name is Alan Brosher, principal in Whitler, Brosher and Associates, the architectural subconsultant for IDAW. WBA, as our firm is referred to, is an architectural planning firm basically doing work for the Navy for about 20 years, performing various design and planning services at various Navy installations, including Mare Island. We just completed a couple of projects at Mare Island in the last 2 years. We worked over there. We're familiar with extracting documents from the civil engineering office, etc. WBA, any questions afterwards? Thank you.
Alan Folks of IDAW.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, good evening. It's indeed a pleasure to be here tonight. We certainly are excited about coming back to work in Vallejo. John Petrovsky wanted to be here tonight. I know you're all familiar with John. He gave presentations in front of this body before concerning the reuse plan, and he couldn't be here tonight, so I'm filling in for him. We certainly have heard everything that's been said tonight. We come here open and honest. We've done a lot of work in the base planning business. That's what we've made a living at recently. IDAW has done a lot of military-based master planning over the years, so we have a lot of DoD experience. The reason why we were very much interested in this contract, and also the other one, was quite simply because that's what we do.
Hi, my name is Russel Ocampo, and I represent Ocampo Esta Corporation. We're a local minority firm located at 1419 Tennessee Street. We're an engineering consulting firm, and we were approached by IDAW to be their local participation company. We were very enthusiastic in submitting and participating with this RFP. Our firm was established in 1986, and I've been here for about 20 years. The two principals, Oscar Ocampo and Dante Esta, has been here for about 20 years also. Currently, we have 30 employees, of which 80% reside in the city of Vallejo. We strongly advocate local business participation, and we have always tried to patronize and give preferences to local businesses here in Vallejo. Along with purchasing goods and services, we also give preferences of employment to local residents. As part of the IDAW team, I hope you will concur with the city staff's recommendation to allow IDAW's team to execute the Mare Island building survey. I am sure that the local community would commend your effort to allowing the active participation of our local minority firm. Thank you.
And at this time, the council will deliberate on the matter. This reminds me very much of a matter that was before us not too many years ago, when we had the great debate a couple of years ago on whether a San Rafael firm was local or a Contra Costa firm. And I think at that point we had, because they had an office here of something of that sort. But in any event, we've been through this before in terms of trying to become Solomons and trying to figure out who is local and who isn't local and all of that. When it comes down to it, it's what can do the best job. City staff has recommended IDAW Inc. as the preferred consultant for the following stated reasons. The IDAW team has superior experience in this type of work as well as with Mare Island. This is in the opinion of city staff. IDAW was the prime contractor who helped to develop the Mare Island final reuse plan and is currently developing the reuse plan and building survey for Alameda Naval Air Station. Their approach to collecting and presenting data, especially in electronic form, was superior and would enable the city to use this data in a property management and marketing system. A significant number of minority-owned and Vallejo-based business firms are included in the IDAW team, including Elliott Realty, Ocampo Esta Corporation, and Applied Pest Management, Inc.
And I want to clarify the percentage of involvement so that everyone is real clear on that. In the initial assignment, which is about a $50,000 assignment, IDAW's role would be about 20% of that. Whitler Brosher, our lead architect, would be 35%. Ocampo Esta Corporation, our local firm, would be 20%. And Bill Elliott, who will work on the real estate appraisal side, would be about 5%. Moffitt and Nickel, about 15%. And our minority engineer that has worked with us on the Alameda work and really understands the nature of this work, YEI, would be 5%. That totals 100%.
The nature of this contract is not about architectural design. We're not here designing buildings. We're not creating projects that end up in construction or win architectural awards. Our purpose is basically to collect data. It's to perform code and seismic analysis, which will provide the city of Vallejo the data and information necessary to determine the disposition of 400 to 500 structures at Mare Island. Whether the building gets demolished, whether a building is mothballed for future use, whether a building has historical relevance for future historical renovation work. Now, this is the issue. This is the bulk of our work, is not doing architectural design projects. There will be hundreds of architectural design projects in the future. I'm sure these will go to local architects. These will be advertised locally, and there'll be a great opportunity for architects like Mr. Bowe and Mr. Cox to be awarded some of these future contracts. Ocampo Esta is providing a vital role as a Vallejo firm. They'll actually be doing a greater part of the work than originally thought. They'll be doing performing data retrieval at Mare Island, preparing CAD drawings of all the buildings, providing electrical and mechanical surveys, providing cost estimating, and their office will become the base of operations for our whole team, being only a few blocks from Mare Island.
Good evening, Mayor Intentuli, city members. My name is Oscar Ocampo, President of Ocampo Esta Corporation. I live in 1474 Legend Circle, Vallejo. Our office, Ocampo Esta, was established in 1986. We are a Vallejo local company. We are also a certified minority company, and as a profession, I am a registered electrical engineer for the state of California and Nevada, and 30 years experience as electrical engineer. My partner, Dante Esta, is also an electrical engineer, and he has been in the city for 30 years. Ocampo Esta is a multidiscipline engineering firm. We have licensed structural engineer, licensed civil engineer, licensed mechanical engineer, licensed electrical engineer, and we have this CAD system in our office wherein we have at least 12 CAD stations. The company was nominated for 2 consecutive years as the company Minority of the Year for 1992 and 1993. Our people on the CAD departments are all highly trained and experienced personnel. In 1994, our payroll includes 74 employees. 58 of these employees are Vallejo residents, and 15% of these employees resides within the 15-mile radius. Ocampo Esta deals businesses with the following company in the Vallejo area. All our banking is done with the Wells Fargo Bank in Tennessee Street. Any real estate dealings, we deal with Elliott Realty and the Realty Board. All our office supply, we bought this from the Vallejo stationaries. Our bookkeeping is done by a local company, Lee Bookkeeping Office in Springs Road. And all our insurances is handled by a local company here, the Allstate under Mr. Levy. This team, the IDAW team, in my personal opinion, has the experience, the qualification, and track records in performing this job, this contract, as it calls for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. I know it's very difficult to put a smile on anybody's face at this point. However, I'd like to greet you Happy Valentine's Day.
You got any cookies, candy, or anything like that?
Yeah. My name is Dante Esta, and I'm Vice President of Ocampo Esta Corporation. I'm just here to erase the impression that Ocampo Esta is not qualified to perform commercial and industrial-related engineering work. I happen to represent that part in our company. For the past 10 years, Ocampo Esta has established a track record in commercial and industrial engineering, such as 2 years ago, we had a joint effort with CH2M Hill. We helped in the successful completion of the Oceanside sewage treatment plant. And today, we are on the verge of completing the city's Bayside sewage treatment facility. In 1991, Ocampo Esta was selected as one of the 10 from applicants of 78 firms who are choosing to provide engineering and management services to AT&T in the western states area. Today, there are 22 AT&T building sites that we have engineered and are presently under construction in California, Nevada, and Oregon. Again, this year we expect to match or improve that work with AT&T. Allow me to clear up the illusion that IDAW is merely using Ocampo ESTA to fulfill the local representation requirement for this project. IDAW was the only outfit who took us seriously and responded well to our courtesy calls. One day before the interview, the principal and his team visited our office where all parties mutually exchanged interviews. I would like to strongly suggest that Ocampo ESTA found in this IDAW team the qualifications and expertise to keep this work in the right direction, and that IDAW found in Ocampo ESTA the necessary background and experience to carry out this project effectively. In closing, I would like to share you our business experience here in Vallejo. Ever since we founded this company, we've been trying to procure work locally, especially at Mare Island. Today, we are still trying. Before the recession, we have sent deserving kids to Solano Community College to train on CAP. We have donated our engineering services for the Southern Solano Heliport, and it was quite an honor.
Mr. Esta, perhaps you could give that list to another member of the team because I have to interrupt you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Rick Sitjar, followed by Frank Aquino.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Councilman. My name is Ricardo Sitar. I reside at 173 Newcastle Drive, Vallejo, California. I'm a civil structural engineer of Ocampo ESTA. I've been a licensed civil structural engineer in California since 1976. And right now, I'm busy helping them in doing all the retrofit work on AT&T and all other projects. And also, I'm the president of the Filipino-American Society of Architects and Engineers here in the Bay Area. And also, I'm a member of the Seismology Committee of the Structural Engineer Association of Northern California, in which we handle projects that require retrofitting and seismic upgrade. I think the IDAW team, and including Ocampo ESTA, is the most qualified team that will do the project. If not the best team, but the D team that can do and deliver what the city of Vallejo needs for Mare Island's upgrading. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Frank Aquino, followed by Amy Tressler.
City Mayor, members of the City Council, good evening. My name is Frank Aquino. I live in 340 Grenadine Way, Hercules. I'm here tonight to speak in behalf and in support of Ocampo ESTA. Ocampo ESTA, when I was at Pac Bell as a project manager, they had done work for me. And they had done such a quality work, good job, and I would recommend them to anyone that would be looking for some more work. They do have lots of personnel that can do quality work, and their approach is basically a proactive to clients' needs. Thank you.
Amy Tressler, followed by Frank Levy.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the Council. I am Amy Tressler, working as a realtor in Vallejo, 1433 Springs Road. I have represented Ocampo ESTA engineers a number of times over the past years. I have always found them to be fair and honest in all their dealings. I have also represented a number of their employees, and from these relationships, I offer the following observations. Ocampo ESTA employs approximately 58 individuals from our area. They have seen the normal business cycles of booming and slow workloads. However, They have always done everything possible to retain employees even though work was slow. They have made a real contribution to Vallejo and brought stable employment to its residents. My husband, Michael Tressler, couldn't be here tonight because he's out of town on business. But he asked me to provide his input on Ocampo Esta's competency and ethics. He recently retired from a local utility where he was a manager of the nuclear engineering department. He and others in the company have contracted with Ocampo Esta for both engineering services and personnel for a number of years, and the timeliness and quality of work was outstanding. More importantly, they always place great value on meeting the intent of the contracts, not just the specific conditions, and all work and relationships were conducted to the highest of ethical standards. Thank you for providing me this opportunity to speak to you.
Thank you. Frank Levy, followed by Dom Moran.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilman. My name is Frank Levy. I'm an active member of the Lions Club in Vallejo, also Philippine American Chamber of Commerce, and also the choir in St. Basil Church. The only thing I can say is I've been doing business with the Ocampo since 1986. Without failure, they always call me because I'm from the local. My office is down in Admiral Callahan Lane, near Safeway. And I live in Glen Cove. I've been a resident of Vallejo for the last 14 years. I can say that they can be trusted, they're honest, and the dealings I do with them is really very good, and I'm happy. Thank you.
Thank you. Dom Moran, followed by Charlie Beringer.
Good evening, Mayor Intentoli and members of the City Council and staff. My name is Dom Moran, President of the Filipino-American Retired Jewish Armed Forces Association. My presence here tonight is just to voice my opinion about the awarding of the contract for the conversion project in Mare Island. All I can say is my concern about as a whole, as a result of this project, what benefit does Vallejo gets? Okay. Now, if one of the criteria of your making decision in awarding the contract is whether the contractor is from Vallejo, so you give a preference so that the Vallejoans can get a benefit out of it. So I can only say that the Ocampo and Esta engineering company is a qualified, and they have wide experience in engineering contract. They've been doing business for several years now. So I'm pretty sure that they can do a good job, and they can be trusted. They've been involved in helping the community. So if you award the contract to Ocampo and Estes, they will hire people in Vallejo, and it will help the community. So I would like to urge each and every one of the City Council to vote to award the contract to IDAW and Ocampo and Esta. And thank you very much.
The next speaker then is Rosanna Verder-Liga. She'll be followed by Maria Batagon.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Rosanna Verder-Liga. I'm a resident of Vallejo. I live on 451 Brunswick Drive, Vallejo, California. I'm an active community leader as well as an elected official in the city of Vallejo and a community organizer. I am here to lend support to IDAW's proposal in partnership with Ocampo Esta for the Mare Island Building Survey Project. IDAW Incorporated, a San Francisco-based company, has contracted Ocampo Esta Corporation, a Vallejo engineering consulting firm, to be a part of their team. Ocampo Esta Corporation is a minority business in Vallejo with majority of its employees living and buying goods in Vallejo. They have done work for several firms such as PG&E, AT&T, Pacific Bell, Bechtel, the County of Solano, and others. Ocampo Esta Corporation has also been in this community for 9 years, and their owners, Mr. Oscar Ocampo and Dante Esta, are longtime residents of Vallejo. They have supported numerous community projects, and to name a few, the Filipino Youth Internship Project, basketball tournaments for our Vallejo youth, and several youth conferences and out-of-town trips. They are active members of the Vallejo Chamber of Commerce and the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce. They are an outstanding minority firm who has extended help and support to many community projects and individuals. They truly have given back a lot to this community. IDAW's proposal, in partnership with the Ocampo Esta Corporation, was reviewed and recommended by your staff, and because they have met the criteria and requirements for selection. The IDAW team has experience and has the qualified staff to do the job. They have gone through the competitive bidding process, and they truly deserve your final approval. I ask that you award this project to the IDAW team, and happy Valentine too. Thank you.
Thank you. Maria Batagon.
Mayor Tony Intintole, Vice Mayor Foster Hicks, members of the City Council, and Vallejo City staff. My name is Maria Batagon. I reside at 821 Falcon Drive. I have been a resident of Vallejo for over 30 years. I am a community leader and community organizer and a retired mechanical engineering technician from Mare Island. I have known Dante Esta and Dante Esta and Oscar Ocampo for the last 20 years. They have always contributed to the betterment of the youth of the community at large. They have supported local businesses for as long as I can remember. I am here to support the decision made by the Vallejo City senior staff to grant the contract to IDAW and Ocampo Esta, as well as Elliott Realty. I feel very happy that the city have given an opportunity to Ocampo Esta Engineering, which is a highly qualified minority business and also a local business. I feel that the award is very justified because of the proven track record of IDAW and the excellent services that Ocampo Esta and Elliott Realty has to offer. I invite those who have questions to visit the facilities of Ocampo and Esta and meet the experienced people who work for them. I wish that the people won't make rush judgment about people's qualification without checking their sources. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak in behalf of IDAW and Ocampo and Esta, as well as Elliott Realty.
Excuse me. That concludes the public portion of the meeting. We'll now take the matter into the hands of the council. At this point, it would be appropriate if there, in order to have something on the dais for us to debate. We have had extensive debate, as all of you are aware. I want to offer the gavel in a moment to the Vice Mayor, and I will offer the resolution to award this contract to IDAW. In doing that, I'm doing it with only one motive in mind, and that is to give the contract to the firm which I believe will do the best job for the people of the city of Vallejo.
My perception is my reality. And it goes for anyone looking at this picture that we're looking at right now. I do not like the manner in which this process has been handled. I'm going to be very frank. I have to say that. If I didn't say it, I wouldn't feel good when I go home tonight. And I think everyone here needs to realize that there was a panel of 4 persons. Actually, maybe there have been 5 persons that were put together. The 5th person dropped out for some emergency and could not show up. The 4 persons that were left on that panel voted, and they split their vote. 2 with IDAW and 2 with Bo. That to me tells me that they're all qualified, and that's not the issue. Ocampo Esta is qualified. My definition of local is Solano, Napa County, because that is what Mare Island represented over the years. And for us to sit here and debate the issue of who's not qualified and who is qualified is not the issue to me. To me, I think it would have been good for the city to put together a team, and I agree with Mr. Bo that they're going to have a learning curve if they get this award. But it's time that we take the risk to combine a team and form a team that is truly local. And I'm going to ask a few questions here, and of Ocampo Esta, if they would be willing to join the Bo team if Bo got it. That's one question. It's important to me.
I'm Oscar Ocampo, and this is with regards to the if Bowie will be getting some work with this job. What I have told, what I think is it will be very unprofessional for me to join their group. Because number one, we tried to join their group before the bidding process. And then during the last council meeting here, we were told that they took the Napa-based company other than our company, who is a Vallejo base. And we've been trying hard before the interview, to get in with their team, but we never got any response from them. Here is a company, IDAW, which we contacted 2 days or 3 days before the interview. We have a lot of telephone conversation. They even went to our office, and we discussed things, what we can do for them and what their experience. And I think it will be, at this time, it will be very unprofessional for our company to go to Bo for this particular project. But maybe if there will be some project in the future, we are really very open to them.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I agree with Mr. Pancho. Sometimes when things are equal and they look equally qualified, one of the things that is important to have these RFPs and look at the whole package. And I, too, was very interested, as Mr. Pancho was, in the expense. So I contacted immediately the Economic Development Office last Friday and came down and visited them on Friday and had them run various figures for me. Because when I looked at these 2 proposals, I noticed that they were asked, both firms were asked to estimate the cost for industrial buildings, office, residential, institutional, recreational, and commercial. Now, IDAW did list various prices for each category, if you notice. Bo did estimated some categories, but they didn't estimate the cost for residential or recreational. So it became a problem for the Economic Development Department to put these figures together and come out with an average. But we attempted to do this, multiplying it by the square foot. And then what I did, and of course I confounded Mr. Siegel there, I said subtract 5% from the local, which is Bo, because Bo can't call, contends that he's local. So, but anyhow, if there were these, first of all, these 9 buildings, Bo was $322,219. Then, if you subtract 5%, if we gave him the local preference, that would be $16,111. That would still make a difference between Bow and IDAW. IDAW would still be $49,000 less. All right. Then I took the whole thing, not I, but let's put it, Mr. Hollingsworth and Mr. Siegel helped me run all this stuff out. If you did all of Mare Island in the square footage, according to Bo's figures, and I hope the team did this correctly, Bo, because I'm not in on these calculations as they are, they added it up to 4,264,313. But EDAW would be 1,680,313. And then you take your 5% off, and still there is about a difference of $2 million. So EDAW is considerably, for the first 9 buildings, it would be only $49,000 less. But if you took the whole project, if we did everything on Mare Island, it'd be $2 million less. So in doing that, then that determined to me that this one team was going to cost considerably less, had a lot more experience on Mare Island, was using not local, but a Vallejo team. Vallejo, and the Vallejo team is a minority-based team, which also fits one of our goals and objectives of Vallejo. And even giving Bo the 5%, would still be doing, EDAW by far would win. So that is where I'm coming from. I also talked to Mr. Ocampo on the telephone, as well as Mr. Bo. I'm trying to get all the facts from everyone. And I really put Mr. Ocampo through the 3rd degree. When I talked to him, I said, he told me that he went to the interview and tour of Mare Island in December, when all the architects took the tour. And he said, and I want to bow to Mr. Ocampo for being a tip-top businessman. He said, I got the list of every architect there, and I telephoned and contacted every single person on that list and asked them to interview me. And so that is the way, I think if all Vallejo businessmen went after business that way, maybe some of our Vallejo business would do better. Because he went and he said he contacted even Mr. Bo's team a 2nd time, but he never received an answer. Now, that is what he told me. I don't know that it's a fact, but I asked Mr. Ocampo that several times. The way that I did when I used to teach school and question a student, I didn't ask him once. I asked him several times, and he gave me that answer. So with that answer that Bo had the opportunity of hiring a local minority team and then would go to Napa, that also conditioned my decision that I will support EDAW. But of course, the money counts with me. And I have to tell you that when people are equally qualified and the amount of money is that much, that also is a tremendous factor. And I do want to thank the staff, our economic development staff, for the hard work they did for me that day when I said, please run these figures for me, because I want to come to a good decision. So thank you very much. We have a very fine staff, and I want to thank you for cooperating with me when I asked for information.
And so I also want to commend Oscar for his response to the question. That was a very professional response and a very class act, and I think it just goes to show the type of organization you have here. And all of us in Vallejo are very proud that you have located in Vallejo, and we certainly are very proud that you're a part of our community. Thank you.
Unanimous.